And here we go. In the top left of Paradiso, it's Gypsy, our Canadian Terran. Heard Canada makes the best Terrans. And in the bottom right, we have Bonneth, our Polish Protoss. All right. Very exciting stuff. Paradiso, we didn't mention this previously because we've seen it a little bit. This is a very good new 4-player map. Definitely something to keep your eye on. I would like to see a map like this added to the ladder pool. I think this one has potential to be as good as Polypoid, which Polypoid's a very good map. It's not perfect. Vermeer is as close as we have to a perfect map right now. And the thing is, the funny thing is, probably at some point in the future, we'll look at Vermeer and be like, yeah, that's not balanced anymore, really. It's kind of like favored one way or the other. But yeah, you know, right now I think Paradiso is one of our better maps out there. Hope to see this played a bit more in tournaments. We'll talk more about it as the guys start scouting the map a little bit more. I don't have a lot of experience. I played a little bit on the map. It was during the ladder phase as well. But yeah. Playing with a smaller map pool for the actual tournament. I think that that's always, by the way, I do want to throw this out there. I'm big in favor... How do I even say this? How do I speak English as my first language? I am very much in favor of small map pools for tournaments. You know, while it can be kind of exciting to have like crazy wild maps like in ASL, I think for a really solid tournament, 4 or 5 maps is more than enough. Because if you give the players 4 or 5 maps, that's practicable. Whereas if you give players a map pool of like, you know, 7 maps, 8 maps, whatever, 9 maps, that's actually like, I mean, this might not sound it. Like if you haven't actually played and tried to practice for StarCraft tournaments, that's too much. You actually don't have time to practice everything. And in fact, I sometimes point that out in ASL where I'm like, oh, look at this strategy. He skipped practicing 76, you can tell. Because he's doing this really weird bad all-in. Because it's not worth the time, right? Like, you only have so many hours. So you have to cut certain things out. But yeah, anyways, I really like smaller map pools. I remember the old days of WCG. They'd announce 4 maps. And, dude, you could play thousands of games on those maps and just know them completely. It was a great time. Anyways, right now we're on cross spawn. You can see Gypsy doing an end scout. Bonneth just scouting around normally. He's going to go ahead and find Gypsy second. And it is looking like it's going to be a factory expansion here from Gypsy. So pretty standard stuff. Kind of what you would expect. Don't forget that when these guys played previously on Polypoid, Bonneth did end up going for a proxy robo. Notice how hard he's chasing this probe right now. Okay, this is very purposeful from Gypsy. He's pushing out. He doesn't want it like sneaking up here and making a robo, or sneaking down here and making a robo. If it's going to make a robo, it's going to have to loop around and do something like that, or loop around this way, go up there, right? Just slowing it down makes it less likely that anything crazy is going to happen, because that was a little bit of a disaster of an early game in game number 1 for Gypsy. Of course, he was able to come back and win. Did beat Bonneth 1-0 so far today. No idea what's going to happen, though. They seem pretty well matched. Robo coming up here for Bonneth. I think very, very likely he's going to throw down his second gateway. I wonder if he's going to go for Reavers, though. Okay. Bonneth is very, very, very good with Reavers. And I feel like he's been known for being a Reaver into carrier guy for a long time, but more recently I've seen a lot of his games that are, you know, 2-gate observer into like third base into carrier type games, or, you know, sometimes extra gateway units into carrier, which is actually trending relatively hard in Korea in the pro scene. More of the Korean pro Protosses are starting to play like Bonneth and Dragon right now. It's kind of crazy. Like, Sins is actually the guy that quote unquote came up with it, but honestly, I'm giving credit where it's due, man. They're stealing Dragon's build, which is semi close to the way Bonneth plays. It's not exact, but just throwing that out there. Who knows? Now, This has been a Vulture expand, of course. This is pretty standard stuff, right? He's laying some mines over on these expansions. This is exactly what you want to do. You want to lay some in the paths, too. Oh, that's kind of an interesting one. 3 in a row here. Generally, I would like this one, maybe here, and then, like, maybe one here, here, something like that. But, you know, you can make 3 or 4 vultures if you want. Sometimes you put some in front of your base like that as well, just in case, if there's something loose on the map. If a DT somehow wanders through, this will save you a lot of the time. But yeah, he lays the mines very, very well. These give him some very good vision. Gives him a little bit of map control for now as well. And this is a Reaver opening from Bonneth. So kind of reverting to his more classical style, which I think in theory is actually stronger than some of the Corsair openers that he's been doing. If you haven't seen those Corsair openings, I do suggest you check them out on ArtosisCasts. Just type in Bonneth versus Mihu and you'll be able to see them. But he's got some really interesting Corsair builds that have been doing very, very well. Now, this is upgrade Terran from Gypsy, a very, very fast armory. Already has that +1 going. And he's actually getting Academy before the second factory. That's crazy. Because he's got the eBay as well. But, wow. Okay. That's just, it's not that common. It's kind of like something that I watch like everything that comes out of Pro Terran's mouths in Korea, basically. No, not like, anything that they say about the game. And generally, you want to get your second factory up pretty quickly so that the supply of Protoss doesn't eclipse you too much. So I'm a little bit surprised, like, how quickly he's doing this. But it looks like he just wants to get his scout as quickly as humanly possible. Now, he has plenty of units here to make it so that this Reaver just can't unload. That Marine got stopped because anytime you target fire something at max range, your unit will freeze. It happens to Marines all the time. And yeah, Bonneth isn't going to find anything here, I don't think. These mines are perfectly placed as well. You might drop a Zell out here. I could see it. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I can't believe it. Normally, when Bonneth drops that, he will pick it back up before the mine hits. He does get that Scarab out, but honestly, the damage on the Reaver's better than the damage on the tanks. Gypsy's happy with that. 100%. All right, speed on the way. Science facility coming up. This is like really fast upgrade Terran, guys. This is going to be like the quickest 2-1 you ever saw. I almost wonder if he's planning a 2-base push. I don't think so. Like, that stuff has gone way out of style at this point. But I do wonder about it for a moment. It's such a fast 2-1. Like, I guess what this will probably turn into is like a mega 3-2 maxed out 4-base build. Like a 4-base push, rather. I shouldn't call it a build. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, Bonneth right now. Going back on a refill his shuttle with a secondary Reaver. Observers are coming out. The Stargate gets started. He has that +1 air attacks on the way. But you know what? Scans go down. He sees that carrier is the thought-forward Bonneth. So actually, that 2-base thing I was talking about makes a lot more sense now. I would pull the trigger here personally, and I think a lot of players would. Let's see. Is he going to make a command center? This is the moment. Because that's where the command center is going if he's making a command center. But that could be a factory as well. A little bit of harassment going on. We got to watch that harassment first before we see what Gypsy's going to do. This is the moment of truth, though. It's going to decide exactly how this game looks. What are you making, SCV? Command center. Okay. So he's going to go for the bigger macro game here. Now, there is the option. If you see something like this, you can still do some of these like 7-fact 2-base 2-1 push builds. I don't think they're that good anymore, but I have been recommended it from very strong Terran players to occasionally do this against the very fast carrier builds. The thing is, the way Bonneth is playing this, oh my god, he's doing the Corsair build. Oh, he's doing... I haven't seen him do Reaver in a Corsair yet. Oh, this is crazy. This is crazy. Okay, so if you haven't seen this yet, what Bonneth does is he gets 3 Corsairs generally. I saw him get 4 one time, but he gets 3 Corsairs. He upgrades defensive web, whatever the hell it's called. We don't even know because it's never used. And that is a spell that's AoE and it makes units under it unable to attack. So he puts it on clumps of siege tanks, and they can't attack. So then Bonneth just... That's how he stops your push. It's not with Psystorm, but with D-Web. It's crazy. It's crazy. And he's gotten some gigantic victories off of it. Like, he's done very well with it. It's his own strategy. No one else can say it's theirs. This wasn't made by a Korean pro. It was made by Bonneth. So if it ever becomes popularized, it's because of him. Now, Bonneth right now just harassing the front here as hard as he can. He's just trying to slow Gypsy down. Gypsy is like going for like a really big macro game here. His 2-1 is just going to finish really, really soon. Look at this. Super, super fast on that. Fourth base coming up for Bonneth. We have carriers on the way. We should have D-Web on the way very shortly here, because you have to get carrier interceptor as well. The interceptor upgrade. There it is. Disruption web. Defensive web. Jesus. I don't even know the name of it. I only have 25 years of experience. I don't know the name of disruption web. Okay. Anyways. Third base being taken. For Gypsy, he definitely needs that third gas. He's got just a perfect SCV count right now. He's going to... I think he'll start his 3-2 immediately, honestly. I think you can look at the previous game that we had between them on Polypoid and kind of assume that this game can go very, very long, right? So in that case, you definitely want to start 3-2. If you think the game's going to end really quick, you can just go like +3, or you can skip. Like if you're just pushing and you're like, I need every dime to push, but I think he'll go right into it. Yeah, there's the +3 immediately. Adding those additional factories as well. He's going up to 9. 9 is good on 3 bases. We'll see when he tries to take a 4th. Laying some mines out to the side. Did it have a drop ship? Oh, I actually missed the drop. Sorry about that. Doesn't look like it was very impactful, though. Still 68 probes, so it doesn't seem like it really did anything. Good spread here from Gypsy. So, okay. Just now it started the carrier interceptor upgrade. I believe we only have the 2 CORSAIRS. Okay? So, it's less CORSAIRS than I'm used to with this. I'll be interested to see how Gypsy actually deals with this, because the first time I ever saw Bonneth do this, I actually played a show match against him. He 3-0'd me with the CORSAIRS, and I was like, what is this? I have never seen or heard of this in my life. And Gypsy was actually talking to me afterwards and mentioning that he thinks that you should just go upgrade Terran, max out, and then push. So I think that's what he's going to be aiming for. His macro certainly looking good here. He's at 148 with 72 SCVs here at 13 minutes. So that's pretty solid. He has the 4th command center coming. His factory count is very, very good. He's going up to 10 factories now. I think he's going to want to start grouping his units together. The Vulture movement's good. He's got a lot of really well-laid mines. I'd love to see a Vulture up here just patrolling. I'd love to see a Vulture here patrolling. Bonneth, he's got to stay in his little 4-base area, right? We talked about this before. Bonneth likes to go to 4-base, get his carriers up, right? Like he doesn't go out of bounds. He doesn't get overly greedy. He wants to have enough to hold whatever you're going to do. And he feels like he can do that on 4-base. So right now, starting to clear some of these mines. There's the 5th base just starting now. And just for a reference point, generally, like in a lot of PvT games, you know, obviously this is a different one. It's like mega upgrade Terran against pretty quick carriers, so there's nothing very weird about this. But the 5th base will generally be taken when the 3rd base lands. So that's a more normal thing, whereas this has been mining for a little bit, right? Anyways, we have a drop ship out here, not really doing anything. The carriers, the first ones are out. They've got full interceptors. Gypsy, just about maxed, getting into position over here. Well, you know what? He actually has enough Goliaths to zone these out. You only need 1 group of Goliaths to stop the first 4 carriers. That's about it. The first 4 are not that strong. It's after that where they get crazy. Now, let's go. He's going to go ahead with the D-Webs. There we go. 1 D-Web on 4 tanks and a Goliath. A very good D-Web right there. Gypsy unsieges. It looks like he wants to pull back. All right, another one that gets 3 siege tanks. Beautiful D-Webs, but Gypsy's overall army strength seems to be a little bit too strong here. He pushes through. The D-webs do not turn the battle like Bonneth wanted. Gypsy sieging up on this Nexus now. Bonneth, I think he's got to give this up. He tries to get out with his probes. He gets out with like 2 probes only. This base is gone. This base is gone. He's going to be dropping down to, well, he was trying to get up to 5. He's going to be on only 4. And Gypsy going to back up. Is he going to back up? Well, I think the reinforce is good. I don't see a reason to back up. And in fact, he's not. He is just reinforcing. A lot of observers here. Would have loved to see a scan if he had noticed, but very fast-paced game for him right now. He has that 4th base up and mining, by the way. Additional gas being gotten, which is incredibly important. Bonneth right now trying to take another Nexus in the bottom left. Just sick games, man. This is a sick game right now. Gypsy pushing across the map. They are both maxed out. One thing to mention, okay? Let's take a look at the carrier count. It's only 4. There's 3. Oh, there is actually another one right here. Okay, so 5. We're starting to get up to a good number. Ooh, he's got to be careful. You don't want to engage there. Pulls back to the high ground minimum. Look at Gypsy's army. It is so ridiculously strong. There's no splash damage yet here for Bonneth. He turns around and fights, but his carriers are lagging way far behind. This is a bad engage for Bonneth. Gypsy is absolutely going to take this engage. Everything gets splattered. He does pull back before his goons die, but his carriers were way too out of position there, I think, to take that battle. But he realized that this is a terrible place to give up. Now suddenly Gypsy goes over that high ground patch. He's getting down. He's going to be able to threaten this Nexus and really threaten winning the game at this point. Moving forward now. Going to be able to take this out. Going to be able to take this out very likely. And from here, if he just pumps Goliaths, he's probably going to be good to go. This definitely looks like a Gypsy victory right now. Very, very excellent macro game out of Gypsy. An interesting one, too. I'm really interested in the speed of that academy that I was talking about before, as opposed to getting a secondary factory. Maybe just deciding that, you know, he needs to know the timing at which Bonneth was going to switch his techs. That's kind of my gut feeling there for what he was doing. But one thing to mention, now I shouldn't sell this as 100% done because there are 8 carriers. So that's where it does start to get a little bit crazy, but that's a lot of Goliaths to deal with. Sieges up his tanks. The speedlots get on top of a lot of this. He's got to focus on taking out Goliaths, I think, right now more than everything else. Because the Goliaths are what are going to threaten the carriers. Obviously, all the ground units are going to be picked off very quickly here. Actually picks off a siege tank there as well. One more Scarab goes down. But the Goliath count is truly overwhelming. Both the Nexuses have fallen. Bonneth right now barely mining. Does have a few probes over there, but that should not end up being enough. Does look like Gypsy is closing in for a victory here. Siege is up. Well, I mean, killing these buildings is not that impactful. Obviously, getting the probes is okay. Just keeping the pressure on the front is good. Bonneth with not too much of a chance right now. He has no more carriers that are making. He's got 10, which is an insane number. That is a lot of carriers. It's just he's mining with so few probes. If Gypsy, yeah, he's sending units down. So as long as he breaks in here and kills the probes, you can't afford more interceptors. Like the entire economy of Bonneth is just buying interceptors at this point. He's sending his carriers down to the bottom left. That is what he needs to do. Because really, nothing else matters than keeping his interceptors out. He's making as many as he can right now. He's trying to buy as much time as he can using missed shots and just running these units around to bottleneck the Goliaths as much as he possibly can while the carriers make their way back. But more Goliaths are coming. And you notice his money is this low. He literally won't be able to refill the interceptors. So you can actually just pick those off at this point. He doesn't have enough mining probes. This is going to be game for Bonneth. He's not going to be able to come back from this one, even with such a big carrier count. GG! And Gypsy takes a big lead here. Going up 3-0. Oh my God. What a game. What a game. Some great macro going down here. All right. Take a look at the score.